A lot of games came out for Nintendo Switch in June. And when I mean June, I mean the last 2 weeks of June specifically. You had the Pikmin 1 and 2 port that dropped, you had that Raincode game made by the creators of Danganronpa, even had a sequel to 1-2 Switch. That was in demand, I'm sure. What type of poor sap would buy that game? But the 2 big stars of this month of games that came out on the Switch were not only games that I were looking forward to, but they also both were remakes. Well, kind of. One was a port of the game, the other was a full remake of it. They are both games that came out years ago that are finally getting new life on the Switch. And I want to talk about them now, because more people should play them. So let's not waste any time as we talk about 2 remakes on the Switch that you should play right now. I will say this isn't exactly a review of these games, it's more of a first impression of the first couple hours or so, as I haven't beaten either of these games, but I still think you should try them based on what I have played. Anyway, here are my thoughts on these 2 games. But your first question is, what are these 2 games? Well, the first game is a little known game called Ghost Trick Phantom Detective. Ghost Trick Phantom Detective originally came out for the DS and over a decade later, finally got a Switch port. You start the game to find out that you are dead. You have no memory of your previous life, but you see a woman about to be murdered herself. However, you are not like any other ghost, as you have the ability to travel through and interact with objects. It is up to you to travel 4 minutes before a person has died, move and travel through different objects in the real world, and change the fate for those around you. All while solving the questions in your mind of how you ended up here in the first place and what is truly going on. Can you change fate with the help of your new ghost tricks? Hey, I said the title! First off, this game has an amazing narrative, which makes sense as it is made by the same people who made Ace Attorney, so you know you're in for a good story. And while it has a lot of laughs and fun moments, it really draws you into the mystery of the story, and leaving you asking questions. Who are you? How did you end up like this? Who can you trust? Who is the one who murdered you? So many questions! The stakes really get raised as the narrative builds and builds, and each chapter has more and more twists and turns that are just so unexpected. Plus, the unique idea of being a ghost and messing with the world around you, traveling through time to prevent people's deaths, is a really cool and unique premise that opens up a lot of narrative possibilities. I haven't gotten too far with the story yet, but even if I did, I wouldn't dare spoil this game for you. It's one of those games you want to go into without knowing anything. Trust me on this, just play it. But if you do want to know more, I can talk to you about the character design because, oh my god! I am really enjoying the characters in this game so far. One, because of their designs, each one being super distinct and memorable, but also because of their personalities. You have the main character who looks like a skinnier Johnny Bravo, this redhead over here who has a fun design and is spunky and wants to be a detective, these 2 blue guys, the 2 policemen, the chicken chef who sings, and my personal favorite, the dancing police chief, who literally busts a move every time he, well, moves. Look at these dance moves, they put Mirror B from Pokemon to shame. Each character has such a memorable look and a unique animation that, while it is repetitive, they also help to distinct each character and make them have more personality visually. Top that with the writing and everything ties all together. The dialogue for each character really helps them have their own unique voice, and it's really just fun to read and even voice all the lines, which by the way I do when I'm playing this game on stream. Follow me on Twitch, by the way. Speaking of the game, although this has a lot of text like a visual novel, this is a game. How is the game? Well, it's a lot of fun. The gameplay itself really opens a lot of unique stuff going on. Again, you can interact with certain objects, going into this in-between world, where the one world, you travel to and from an object, and the other, you interact with said object. This opens all sorts of solutions to wacky puzzles, such as moving from a lamp to a flagpole that is brought up thanks to you moving a blender and a fan at the same time, to traveling up a crane that drops objects on characters like you're in a Bugs Bunny cartoon. They are not only fun, but they also really can challenge you and scratch your brain. These puzzles are super out of the box and clever, and when you figure it out, you feel immensely satisfied as you see how the story unfolds and how exactly your solution plays out and your fate is changed. and you don't even need a Monado to do it. I'm nowhere near done with it, but I spent a decent amount of hours with the game, and I am really enjoying it. I want to see what the rest of the story has to offer, and I really want more people to play this game. And I am so glad it's finally out on the Nintendo Switch, after over a decade. If you're a fan of Ace Attorney games, puzzle games, or you really just want to get into a good story, Ghost Trick Phantom Detective might be able to teach you a trick or three. Ghost Trick is certainly a heck of a game, but it's not the only game I really sunk my teeth into this time. I spent a lot of my time playing another game, a farm sim game, one that is a remake based on a game I played on the GameCube for hours upon hours. I'm talking about Story of Seasons, A Wonderful Life. Story of Seasons, A Wonderful Life. I played the original GameCube version back in the day, and seeing this remastered on the Switch is just wonderful to me. I'm getting into the game just like I did when I discovered my first farm sim as a kid. It truly is magical. But not Magical Melody, that's for another day. In A Wonderful Life, you inherit your father's farm with the rancher Takakura, and you now have to raise said farm in Forgotten Valley. You raise crops, take care of animals, and do all the normal farming stuff, of course, but the main draw with this game is growing in the life of the town, and eventually finding someone to settle down and start a family with. You get 10 in-game days a season, which sounds like a lot less compared to most games, but the days last longer, I'd say about 20 minutes per day to be exact, so you're able to get quite a lot done each individual day. But at the same time, it's so easy to keep going and play for hours, seeing if you can accomplish one more day of the season, whether you spend another day refining your farm, or work on raising your friendships and hearts with your neighbors. Honestly, that's the main part of A Wonderful Life, spending time with the people around you and becoming friends with them in the best and only way possible. Bribery! You can talk to them every day, but honestly, giving them gifts every day, or even 3 times a day, is the best way to get them to like you. Just like in real life! You can also sell them items for a cheaper price than most, as you can run your own shop in the game in the plaza. And yeah, if you did that for me, I'd like you more too. The more you get to know the villagers and hear their stories, you get these little cutscenes and participate in their mini games and watch as they change each and every year. Some people stick around, some people change appearances, some people get older, and some aren't there anymore. And honestly, that's kind of sad, but that's also life. It may be sad, but it's really fascinating to see how things really do evolve over time and how life changes for each and every villager, whether it be good or bad. And of course, the best things are the characters. And there are some weird character designs, from the weird doctor with the robotic eye, to the elderly couple, to the mad scientist. Why is there a mad scientist in my farm sim? Oh, I'm kidding, I love you anyway. But the ones people care about are the ones you can date. And you have quite the variety of people you can marry. You have about 8 different bachelor and or bachelorette choices. And unlike the original, you can choose to date anyone regardless of gender. Also a good time to mention that you can make your character non-binary as well, which is awesome. You can date any one of the marriage candidates from the original games, plus Gordy, the artist, and Lumina, who is not a kid this time, so it's nowhere near as creepy as the original. Yay! Speaking of, there are quite a lot of changes to Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life. A lot of them being quality of life stuff, but also a lot of them are the names. Galem, the old man, is now named Gary. Muffy is now named Molly. Marlin is now named Matthew. How can I make my Finding Nemo jokes? Cody is now Gordy. Moi Moi is now Poi. Tartan is now Vinny? They named the plant Vinny? Some of them are cool, and others are, well, they named Celia Cecilia. Thanks for adding a syllable there. Nothing wrong with the localization name changes, it just seems a little weird for some of them. The actual quality of life changes are really good. The controls are really good. There's a bell outside your barn where you can just automatically bring your farm animals in and out. You can check the board to see if your cows are ready to be milked or not. You don't have to check people's diaries to see how much someone likes you anymore. You could just go to the main menu. Even when you sell your items in the town square, you're not just picking whatever's in your inventory anymore. You could set aside select items for people to sell, and villagers will only buy those items. It really is cool, and make sure you don't accidentally sell something you didn't want to. These are a bunch of little details that make the game a lot easier and more enjoyable. making the annoying things in the past much more convenient now. They even added some stuff too, like a quest board, similar to what you would see in Stardew Valley, where you do quests like making meals or growing crops for villagers. Kinda weird it's coming full circle since this game was obviously inspiring Stardew, and now Stardew is making an impact on the original. What a time to be alive! The game is not perfect, however, as there are some things that kinda bother me. But like the good things about it, the not so good things are kind of minor. Why can you leave the valley to head to the city, but it just leads to nowhere and you just waste 6 hours? What is the point of it all? It literally just seems like it's used to waste time. Why is the dialogue kind of repetitive? I know it was a problem in the original, and it's better than it was in the original, but I don't know, you could have added a bit more dialogue to the game. They have great character designs. Make what they are saying more interesting. And finally, why can't you date more people? I want to date Flora the archaeologist. Look at her. She's so cute. Why? Despite the nitpicks, I really do enjoy Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life. It's a bit pricey for a remake if you ask me, but if you are a fan of farm games, this is one of the original farm games, and I highly recommend it, especially if you grew up with the original. It is filled with such cozy vibes, and you could lose hours upon hours if you let yourself. I'm enjoying every minute of it. I may even make a more in-depth review once I beat the game. But as of now, if you are interested in trying it, I say it is extremely worth it. Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life is certainly a wonderful game. I recommend playing both, but if you want to see someone play both games before you buy it, I will be playing them on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/RandomBystanderHere. And if you have played them or want to play them, what are your thoughts on the games? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit the like button and stay tuned for more videos.